Check, check, check. 1, 2. Can you hear me now? What's up, Shades? Can you hear me? Shades, Michael. Check, check, check. 1, 2. Check, check. All right, I think I'm being heard now. All right, let me do some things here to make it better. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Check, check. 1, 2. All right. Now, so we have a review here. I'm going to ask some questions. Anybody who's bold enough to answer, go ahead and answer. And only for the lower 48. All right. When we do this review, well, let's just do the review, and then the next time I do it, I'll have a little bit of a getaway. All right. So, first things first, when you turn on the Verselab, it's going to be in song workflow, right? You want to go to sequence workflow. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tracks that you can do melodic things on. And of course, this one here, well, you got 6 tracks you can go melodics on. And you got this track here, kit track, where you will be doing your drums. And let me move that out the way. You'll be doing your drums. All right. Now, if you are crafty, right, and you get so far, so like right here, you turn around and say, you know what, this hi-hat and this snare track that I got those keys on, I'm going to sample these and put them on a kit track. You can just go to your kit track, and then you can go to shift and section select. You're going to grab your value knob. You're going to go over. You're going to choose your source. So you can choose, let's say it was hi-hat that we had a sound on, like a simple keyboard sound. You can go ahead and choose this track as a source, right? And then you can sample the information from this track to your sample. And over here, you're going to be able to preview your sample. Let's say you did the keys or whatever. You're going to preview your sample, and you can also edit your sample there. Let me just, I got something here. So let's go ahead here, and let's take the source and make the source the kick. And what I got? Okay, so I got that little right? And it does the same thing over and over again. So what I'm going to do is sample that, and then I'm going to place it in one of my kit drums. Okay, so let's go with it. All right. Now that is there. I can then take that information. I'm not gonna play with it, but you could either play with the start, the end. You can normalize it by doing that, and then you can. It's paid. Well, no, I don't want to do that yet. All right, so I can leave it like that. 1, 2. I can hit shift and then turn this third control knob until I get it right where I want it. Right. I'm not going to do too much of this, but it's just a review. Just to let you know that even though you've used up all your tracks, you could still maneuver. And that's how, when I first started messing with this, that's how, you remember those big old songs that I used to be putting up? Well, that's what I was doing. I would sample a part, put it in, and then put it on a kit or create another kit track, and then
It's Paige.
well, no, hit it there. I'll hit it there. Sample set. Hold on. All right. I would put I would put that information there, and then I would go about creating a big old song just using little bits and pieces of sample spaces. So I play things in and sample the hell out of it. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. But you're not limited to how many tracks here. You're just limited by your imagination. And believe me, with this little unit, if we take ourselves out of the 2000s and put ourselves back in the 90s, you remember that like the MPC 3000 had, I think, a minute. I don't even know how many minutes it had of sample space. Yes, you can do that too. Yes, sir. But the greatest thing about this is you got a minute of sample time on this side, on the sequence side, and over here you have, let me see. Let's go to my vocal track. And I'm just gonna hit play and record, but you got like 490 something seconds over here. Well, hold on, that's still song. It's doing a crazy thing. But yeah, I'm gonna lose that sample. But over here on the song side, you have about 492 seconds of sample space. So you can get the thing done. I've been messing around here, so it's only going to show so many seconds for me because I've made a big old situation that I'm going to be putting up later. But you can sample parts from these tracks, like things that you won't need so much, you won't need space for, and you can have in your drum program. Because the greatest thing about doing it on, well, the kit program or the kit track, because the greatest thing about the kit track is, look, you can hit edit, instrument edit, and look, you can control level, pan, delay, reverb. You know, you can add effects, right? Delay and reverb. You can, of course, the mute group and all that stuff. You can assign out to the what's up, Gardner? What's happening, man? You can also assign out to your MFX. So you have a whole lot of control of that one pad in the kit track. And that was the one thing I was saying in my Truth About video, that why not have the vocal be the same way? Which they kind of made it that way right now, but it's not completely there because there's a few other things I would like to see in the vocal track, you know, per vocal pad, you know, but that's just me. Hopefully they'll hear me and do another update and add a few extra things in there for us so that we can have a lot more control over everything. But you're only limited by what you're thinking with this. You're only limited by what you are thinking. If you can sit down and, you know, you've laid out everything here, right? And you're like, damn, I want one more part. If you got a part like a chord that you're just holding or a lead line that only goes 2 bars, go ahead and sample it. Put it on a pad, especially if you're not using all your drum pads. Like most cases, we got a hi-hat, a set of hi-hats, a kick, a snare, and we don't have to do the hard kick, soft kick anymore. I still do it because, you know, I'm old school. I'm from the 90s. But now, you know, in this situation, you can, you know, pick a pad and do your velocities. But the idea is typically when you're doing this and you're in here, you're you're going to probably use 8 drums in one section of that song. And maybe that chord progression goes maybe in like the chorus part. And it's not so important that it needs to be on a whole track sucking up space. You can just sample that to like pad 9 and you just program that in like, one of your drums, and you can effect it and make it sound weird or whatever, slow it down. You can do whatever the hell you want to it. And then now you got a whole track open. You got two tracks open because maybe you had a electric keys here, electric piano here and a real piano there, or organ or lead sound. Certain sounds I'm like, okay, leave that one. Like if you got a bass sound, leave that one. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to want to manipulate that bass a little bit with the EQs and stuff like that. But if it's like a piano sound or a, I don't know, any sound, anything that's not going to be so significant that it needs a whole track, go ahead and sample that. Put it on another spot and then put your other sound in there. I have songs that are big. I have songs that I've done with guitars, and at first I was just using this as a track recorder. I was just, fulfilling my dream of not having to play from 0 to 250 by by tracking out my guitar parts part by part and then sampling them in and creating whole songs. Well, thank you so much. Now, so first things first, let me go through that again. You start in song mode, you go over to sequence mode, right? When you're in sequence mode, the world is yours. Even though this is 7 melodic tracks or 6 melodic tracks in a drum track, think of this as I'm going to start create my drums, if that's where you are. I'm going to start with this drum. Even if it's just, right? I got a kick and a snare going, and now I'm creating everything else. And you got that key part that you're doing, and you're like, you know what? That key part isn't that important that it needs to hold a whole track down. So what I'm going to do is sample that part to here. And I'm sample that part, and then I'm going to put it on pad 9. I'm only using pads 1 through 8. So I'm going to put my sample of my keyboard part on pad 9. All right. You go a little longer, and you're like, okay, well, you know what? That lead line isn't that important either. I'm going to sample that one too. So I'm going to take that off of the snare pad, the snare track. I'm going to put that on pad 10. So now you've laced those two parts in. I think I got a song where I did that. And yeah, I'm not hooked. My mic is not hooked up to this no more. So look, let me show you. I think it's this. Where I had some wind blowing. Well, thank you so much, Shades. Thank you so much. I got 8 likes. This is gonna work out. We're gonna get bigger with this, and we're gonna actually be working. I just want to know everybody knows how I use this thing, and we'll review it. We'll review it a few times so that when we're working, we can all work together. And I found out how to do that template thing, and tomorrow I'll put that video up because now I can make a template and I can send it to you via email. You can just pull it down and have a template of how you want your vocal patch, your vocal setup to go, and other little things that I do in my songs. But here, so that's the thing that I had, and I was using the pads for the wind, but I think I ended up sampling that wind and putting it on this pad instead of using a whole track and the thunder. So I was able to relieve myself of 2 tracks and put 2 tracks back in the game instead of using a whole track for this and this. And I got bigger songs but I don't have enough space on here to pull them in because I got too many things on this card now. But this machine is really a DAW, and it is more a DAW now that they took and made the vocal track where you can pan things and you can have more effects on each pad and stuff. Now it is completely what you need. It's a 1680, a VS20, and I mean a VE20, and it's also the most fabulous sound module that you could ever put your ears on. Plus, these tracks don't really mean that, because even if you were like to the point where you had your song down and put together, you can go over to song mode and you still have this vocal track where once you've done all your singing and stuff, let's say you got a big old background, like you know your man do that, and I take it all and I put it on one track, right? I sample all of that background to one track. Now I've removed everything that was there, and I still have 15 more tracks that I can put more sounds in. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's say I want to play a live guitar. Maybe I want to take the bass line, and now that I have more control here, I can take not the bass line. Let's say I want to take a lead line, a significant lead line, but I want to take it and I want to sample it and put it on pad 2, and I have some control. I can pan it. I can, do a little something with it. I can EQ it and effect it and have it here, and then sample it from here to here. Get rid of the information here and then put it back there if I want to, copy it there, or just leave it there, leave it on 3, and now I've opened up another track so I can go back to my sequence and put some more information in. This thing is amazing. And if you take all the limits off and just say, you know what, I'm gonna use this thing like it's an old school sampler with all the stuff that I wanted. Because outside of the sound, this is sort of like a MPC 3000. Sort of. I'm not saying it is one, but it's sort of like it. If you think about this like you think about one of those or ASRX, you'll look at this totally different. Even down to the sound module doesn't affect how you work with the rest of it. It doesn't steal all the memories and stuff. You don't end up losing notes and stuff, because I think there's like 128 notes of polyphony in there, and none of the samples in here are that big where it steals it up from you. So you have the ability to go crazy. And if you remember those rock and roll things I was doing, that was just me in the song side. I'll create a drum beat, and then I come in on the song side, play the bass and all that stuff, sing, and then I'd send it out, because I got this right off. It's like this here stuff here right off. Let me do a screen capture of that. I see you got me some chords, huh? You got me some chords, some big ones too. Let's see what I'm gonna do with that later on. Yeah, like bouncing. There you go. Yeah, I got people in here who know recording. Yeah, just like bouncing. All you're doing is taking this 4-track and making it the world, man. I want to go all over the place, because the reason why I keep doing this is because I really want people. You bought this damn thing. I want you to love it. I want you to use it. Yeah, future world. They don't know how powerful this thing is. This really, we do have a screen, because if you hook it up to, the other thing, the software thing that they have, you can see stuff. But if this had a bigger screen on it, this would really give Akai a run for their money. Because let me just go back over here. Look, they came in with all of this stuff. They came in. This is Boss. This is a Boss stump box for real. I mean, this thing came in. It's like, okay, so people are gonna probably want auto tune, so they gave it to you in here. It's like people are probably gonna need a noise suppressor, so let's do that. You got a noise threshold in here. You can go out of here and then go to enhance. Yeah, you switch that on, and now I can give a little bit of high end to something. I can compress some things. I can DS. They're telling you exactly. Yeah, man, don't sell it, bro. I'm gonna be working on other things, but this is the main thing that I'm gonna be showing people, because I really believe that all the videos I saw where people sold it is like, don't do that, because look, man, the sounds in here alone, the sound module part of it alone is worth what it cost. Truthfully, this gives that MPC. It also, I have them all. I have Machine. I mean, y'all watch my channel. If you watch my channel, you see I got Machine Plus and Machine MK3. I have a Kai, the MPC 61 keys. My wife got that for me. I have the MPC Live. My pops purchased that for me before he passed. I have a lot of stuff here, and I tell you the truth, I come to this so often because I love the sounds of it. I love the idea that it's a hidden thing. And when they did the 1.8 update, and they gave me the most simple thing in the world, they gave me the ability to get in here and I don't have a sample in here, but they gave me the ability to pan. Just panning alone. Change the game. And I said it in the video. If they made it good for me, I'll make it good for other people. I tell anybody, and my brother has one of these, and a couple of my boys have one of these, and they were getting ready to sell. I'm like, no, man, I'm going to put a video up every day and show you how this thing really gets down, because this thing gets down. And along with that, at the end, when you are finished, you come over here, and now you got a multi-band compressor. You got a 5-band EQ to tune your whole thing. You got a limiter on here. And people were asking me, well, say, bro, I can't really hear. Well, because they didn't want you to bust your ears out, because this limiter, I've turned this up in my house. My wife came in and it's like, look, baby, I love you, but turn it down or you're going to have to go. This thing gets off. And even on my headphones, if I'm just messing around with myself, I turn this on, and then I go, dropping the threshold and stuff, and it, you can just hear the noise on it. It gets loud. I mean, this thing can get loud, and the mixes are not noisy. I want to say that. It's not noisy mixes. It's not like a old school groove box where you get that little machine noise. I have not had that, and I have dropped some real things on here. I've sent this off to people who pay me money for songs, and look, you're damn right. Future World is worth it just for that, and the MIDI. You can now, and a lot of people didn't know this, but you can now drop. Like, you see that unison pack? You can drop chord progressions from the unison pack into here. The person who put this together, they didn't make the manual so that somebody could just roll through it, read it, and know how to use it. That's the only thing. The manual leaves a lot on the floor. But I'm here, and I'm going to be up here because I like this thing. I got other pieces of gear that, that can do it much faster. But it's like the idea of being in a situation where I got a lot, but I still got to think. That makes it dope. It's sort of like when we were, you're trying to do it with an SP303. You know what I'm saying? It didn't have any, triplet formats in there. You had to really figure that out. And that's the same thing here. I like the DAW stuff. It's cool. It works fast, but it sucks the life out of your creativity, because it's like, if you can just do stuff, it gets boring. Then next thing you know, you're on YouTube looking at videos. But when you're messing with this, you are focused on this. That's why I don't use the software piece that goes with it, because I'm focused on this, and now I got to make this happen. another set of chords. Hold on, let me screen record again because you trying to get 3-4 songs out your man, huh? Right before the end of the year. when your man be when your man be looking for songs to start the new year off with. Yeah. Now them last couple days, your man had a little bit of a surgery on the back of his head, so I apologize for that. But today I'm up and I'm medicated. I'm ready to do it. YouTube chords. And any question you have that I can't answer, believe me, I'll go in and I go, it makes me interested. So I start fucking with it. That's what I do. Because really, once I read that manual like 4 times, I was like, okay, y'all done left a lot of stuff on the floor. I started digging in the unit. And now when I look at this, I don't look at it the same way anymore. I see it. I see what's going on here. And I see how big a thing can get. I see where they wasted time, giving you sounds that you really didn't need. And, some of them sounds on that JD08 should have been in here. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to have to go get one of those now because, your man likes rolling. And most people, like with my MPC Live and my MPC keys, people talk about the sounds. It's like, oh, the sounds are just extra. Well, with these rolling sounds, these sounds are noticeable. You know what these sounds are. You remember some of them from songs that you've heard, and every sound in the group is good enough to be something. Like there's multitudes of times when I've sat down with the thing and been like, okay, well, let me just, weasel through the sounds. Let's see what's going on. And then I'll just go through the different categories, go in sound effects. And, it's like, hold on, let's see what's going on here. Let's see what else I can make up. And I end up making up some real interesting music because I'm focused on using one thing. It's like I was hoping that Yamaha would have done something like this and put that whole motif thing on there. And I would be like having this and that Yamaha thing with the motif sounds and be like, okay, I don't need nothing else. I got 16 tracks to work with and I can sing on it. I don't need nothing else. You can't record from line into a vocal clip. Let me see. Let's go to song mode. My source is okay. So my source would be dry, which is, and then my input external. Oh, built in line. And if I put in my microphone, well, I'm gonna have to sit down and do the video for you. But yeah, it can. I think that can be done because you're doing. I can't record. Yeah, I think that can be done. I'm gonna try it out, and if it can't be done, I'll just come on and tell you that it couldn't be. But yeah, I'll try that out. I don't need to do that right now because I'm running this mic into my other system, and I don't want to yank it out and then lose it. Use MIDI is dope. You can just touch your track and go right to the sound. Go ahead and put up a video for me, baby. I think all of the if more of us who have the unit would do videos, just we can actually make it better for everybody who has one of these. You know, I'm glad to have learned as much as I've learned about it, and really everything I learned about it was because I wanted to use it for real. When I heard, because Roland has some of the best audio effects ever. I mean, you know, down to Prince using all of the stump boxes on his LM1 drum machine over and over and over again, creating all kinds of stuff with it. You know, pioneering some shit on it. You know, so if you just think of that alone, the Roland audio effects are just amazing. And I've hooked this thing up to my Tascam and really made some stuff sound good. Because, you know, I do love the Tascam. That's why y'all are my Tascam Neo hippies. I do love the Tascam 2488 Neo. And that thing alone is just a recorder. But it's a recorder that took me out of the DAW world. This here it kind of took me out of the Tascam world, because the more I got into this, the more I started using this more, you know, all the time. And the Tascam is literally under my studio sofa. I don't even use it no more. I don't even use the R24 anymore. I just use this because I was like, well, if I'm going to show people how to use it, then I need to be on top of it. And that's what I did. I just got on top of it. And that's why every time I come on, I really want everybody to know how to use it for real, so that you can get everything out of it. I think if some of us started getting in here and really using this thing and putting songs up on SoundCloud and on Bandcamp and Spotify through DistroKid or whoever, people will start looking at this differently. And that's the truth too. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I read all the information I could read on my machine, and since when this came out, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna use this. You know, even when I was frustrated with it and I did my little video that I was mad about it, I still was using it because I like Roland. I like Roland. I grew up on Roland sounds. Look, Dr. Dre, most of that stuff from the 90s that he was doing, that came off the JV 1080. He had that, and he had access to everything, but I could hear those JV 1080 sounds. I can hear the Roland stuff on there. I didn't, you know, not notice that I had some of those same sounds, because I had a 1080 with the vintage card, and I think I had I think it was the vintage card and I think it was the techno card. But those two cards together was everything. Okay. This this thing is amazing. And I don't even know why they put it out and didn't really give us everything on video telling you how this thing actually works. I'm not going to say I don't know if people knew how to work it, but even when it first came out, it was still something to behold. It was still something to behold. I knew exactly what this was when I saw it. When I got it home and I just was playing with the sounds alone, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to use this. Because, you know, I'm not into drill and all that, but you can do that with this. But if you want to just make some really good sounding songs, this is everything, man. This is everything. You can use the Roland Verselab and those 3,000 sounds. I mean, there are 3,000 sounds in here. I haven't even touched everything, all the sounds in here. Plus, I went and bought some sounds to go along with the doggone thing, and I still haven't done everything I could do with the stuff that's in here already. Yeah, it's almost like they didn't want it to succeed. Because they were doing more for the 101 than they were doing for this. I was going to get a 101, but I need more tracks than that. I really need more tracks than the 101 was offering, which it has 3,000 sounds on it too. But it was almost like, we don't know what this is, so we're going to put it out and see. It was like, no, man, this is everything. This is 3 different devices in one. It's a fabulous audio effects unit. It's an amazing sampler. I forgot about the sampler. It's an amazing sampler, especially if you can get your mind out of the 2000s and put your mind back where we were. It's amazing drum machine, and it's also a fabulous sound module. The marketing wasn't right. You have a Phantom. I was going to get one of those, but I was like, I got too many big things in here, And I had stopped being a keyboard guy, so I was like, I want one, but I'm not, I got too many keyboards. I have like 7 keyboards in here. And my wife, when she sees stuff, if she see me looking at stuff, she'll go and get it. And then I have more things than I can use. Like every week, I try to create a song. I create a song and use a sound off for everything I have. And I usually play a little piece of guitar off all the guitars that I own now. If I record from record a sign, I can. But the greatest thing that I want to offer to y'all, because I'm gonna put up a video no matter what, either if it's live or just a video, is to use it. I think the more you use it, especially now that I have a bunch of lives up there that can help you, but the more you use it, the more you'll find ways that you want to use it. And that was the thing that I did right away. I was like, okay, I got 16 tracks to work with here in the vocal side, so I'm going to use those 16 tracks. And when you record, and when you create a song, you can finish the whole song. Like, you don't have to go in and, pull up this over here and do that over there. You can really just finish the whole song right where you're standing and have it polished enough to put it up on any streaming site out there, and they'll be competitive. Because just like I've been saying the whole time, that limiter alone is worth the price of the whole thing. Hold on, let me see. Oh, you really want to see what's going to happen here. and yeah, that's another thing too. Let's see. Let's go to here and what? You can put the chords in. Now, that's one thing that MPC should take from MPC and Machine should take from Roland. They've decided, you know what? We can give you some chords, but you can also make your own. You can make your own chords in this doggone thing. That makes this amazing just by itself. Just by itself. You're not restricted to what they thought would go together, which most of the chord progressions that come with the machine and the MPC are fabulous. But let's say you had something that you wanted to put in there yourself and you wanted to play it on a pad. This instrument allows you to do that. Whereas those other two instruments, they didn't even think about that. And I like the fact that y'all talking to each other too. That's great. Because ultimately, that's what I want. I want to get on here, and even though I'm talking my stuff, everybody's talking to each other because we can all help each other. I can go back and read some of the chat and take some information in for myself. Once I learn how to pull people in, I'll bring y'all in also. Yeah, there's a whole lot that can be done with this thing. And it's not complicated once you understand the way the format of the unit is working. In sequence, you have the keys to the world. Once you finish creating your sequences and getting all your patterns together by going into your sections, you create your sections. Once you've created all your sections, you got 16 sections. This is all like in the old days with the groove boxes, they had user. Well, just think about each song, you have 16 users. And you just create your user parts here. And the good thing about it also, which makes it better than the old school groove box is you can change this sound for this clip. And then, it's amazing. It's amazing. You can change sounds or you can remove things and it doesn't affect the whole thing. It only affects that section. It only affects that part. And I like that. I like that about this. Even though sometimes it may be a little bit of a headache to mix it, because if you're not paying attention, you might put the wrong sound on the wrong pad and that EQ may not work for that pad. But that's a simple thing of just copying over to another sound or to another track and, making sure that those EQs line up. But everything about this is designed for you to have a good time while you're working on it. This is a crazy review, but I'm glad people are on here with me because it can get boring up here by yourself. This is a good unit. I'm pretty sure there's more than 100 people with this unit. I'm pretty sure there are people who got it and didn't understand it or just got tired with it because, we're a little spoiled with the DAW situation. But this is amazing. The Roland Verselab MV1 is amazing. There should be another update and or another unit. Another unit. A Verselab 2, because this thing is amazing. This is like if the 707 had the vocal track as an extra. Now, no, this is I think this is kind of better than that. I'm just keeping it real. I think they were a little lackluster on the arpeggios, the arpeggiation stuff. But, I bought this, so I'm not a beggar. But, they say beggars can't be choosers. But I think that the style thing. I think the style thing could have been better, where you could have more arpeggiations. I don't want to mess up this track that I created, but I think that could have been better, as opposed to what do we have? We have 100, 28 different styles, right? I had it on 51. And then we have 12 variations, and you have several motifs. They didn't have the guitar strum motif that was in the Groovebox. It was in the Groovebox 303 where there was a little strum motif. Unless I have gone through it and I just haven't really given it a real chance, but it'd be nice to just have it say guitar strum, where I had some different strums that I could do. And of course you can hold it and velocity, octave range, shuffle rate. But it would have been nice to have it set up a little bit different and kind of know what some of the styles were, as opposed to, just try them. It's like, well, when I'm making a song, I kind of don't want to just try something. I want to kind of know what this is, what is it supposed to be? Because if I'm looking for a guitar strum pattern and I'm going through 128 styles and I got to do all these other things, it's like a few things should have just been a certain way in the arpeggiation section. So like the MX49, it says what the arpeggio will do, and it also has categories for the arpeggio. But that's neither here nor there. We got the unit, and the unit is fabulous. These are just little things that could have been better. It just seems a little rushed. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to stop and get some water. I'm going to let this play for a second, all right? All right, fellas, I'm back. Sorry about that. Oh, shit. Sorry about that. I'm back. Now, anybody got a little bit of a question or something that you've been trying to do that maybe I can help with? Waste water like I'm not using electricity in here. Anybody got a question about at least a navigation question? You know, something because you know, Roland, they made it so that you have to go hunting. It's like you want to find that that limiter, you got to go fishing. And look, now that I got a few of y'all on here, what would be a good time for me to come up? Because I've been coming up sporadically, but I would like to set a time. That way y'all know when I'm up here and we can have a few people on with me while I'm doing it. Luke. Oh, all right. So let's go back to what I was doing. Listen how good that sounds, man. All right, so I'm showing a whole lot of love to this unit, even though I know when they roll out a new one, they're not gonna holler at your man. But I love this unit. I bought it with my own money. Nobody gave it to me. So like I said in my video, when I'm talking about this, it doesn't sound strange because I bought it with my own money. So I can say bad things if I want, and I can say good things if I want. I'm not beholden to anyone. And the greatest thing about messing with this is I had a MC303. So I knew how that thing had its small limitations. I was not used to looking at my sequencer or anything like that. So not being able to completely visualize the sequencer doesn't bother me. But this thing offers the ability to at least see some things. You know what I'm saying? I can hit edit and I can hit one of the steps in the step sequencer, and I can see what note I'm using, the length of the note, the velocity of the note, the start of the note. And if I was creating some kind of drum program, I could change and add ratchets to it. That makes this a little bit different from any other unit, but in a good way, not a bad way. Now, I was never a step sequencer kind of guy, but because I have that option here, I tend to play with it a little bit. I tend to do some step sequencing here and there because I've figured out how it works. And one thing about you, man, you're going to always find out this, and I'll say this all the time. I don't like to figure nothing out. I really like it to be written out. But when I do figure things out, I never not know what it is, and I never not know how to use it. The sequence on here isn't what I was looking for, but it's workable. it's workable, especially in areas where I'm doing drums or something like that. I can hit one of my steps, and then I can give it all that I got. I can give it so much love that you'd be amazed. Me too. Me too. I'm like that. The greatest thing about the old school way is that well, 5 p.m. is good. Yeah, I used to have, my brother had a 555. And the only reason I didn't get one is because he was like leaving it by me, so I was just messing with it all the time. You know what? Diddum Drum, I don't use the application as much, but I'm pretty sure everything that you can do here, you can do there. I really, when I get a hardware thing, I'm really into hardware. Like that time y'all saw me up here with the DAWs, because I was like, okay, let me play with this a little bit. But typically, when I'm messing with hardware, I'm just all hardware. I don't fiddle daddle with the other stuff. Like I have the MPC. I have not. I think I put the hardware. I mean, I put the software on my computer, but I never used it. So let's say you are using an outside. Let's say you're using an outside thing for programming. Let's say something here. And these are control images. So I think if you were using like a reverb, or you was using like a foot pedal from outside, and you wanted to control it, you can put those different systems, because these are just system controls. It's like 14, 13, 12, 11. Yeah, so that's like if you were adding something from outside, you can use that. You can set it up to that control, and you'll be able to do or control this with that, or use this to control that. Well, that's cool. Like I have a brother who, I think he said that he's legally deaf, so I don't know if it's that he was completely deaf, but he had a MPC that he got, and we set it up, because there's also a limiter on that thing. We set it up so that it would be a little bit louder than normal, so that he could feel. He said he can hear. I think he can hear it a little bit, but he can more feel it than he can hear it. My sister also was like partially deaf on her left ear and legally deaf on the other. You know what? I've seen videos where people have said that out of MV, and I've not used the Zen Beats enough to feel that way too. But I did see your video, and I was like, you know what? You're pushing me toward adding that to my iPhone or something, and just seeing, because really when I get in, I just get in. I really just dig in right here. I'm looking at this the whole time. I'm going back and forward and doing everything that I know to do in here. And I'm pretty fast with it. I ain't gonna lie. I'm pretty fast with the thing. I've gotten it down to I had a cat in here working with him, and he was like, I know you ain't gonna do it on this. I'm like, I bet I am. And I sat there and I made a whole song for him right here. And he was like, well, how you doing that? I'm like, you're watching me do it. He's like, but no, this ain't nothing. And he picked it up. He's like, it ain't nothing but 2 pounds and something. I'm like, it doesn't mean anything. You got to come with it. But I'm gonna hook up the Zen Beats I'm gonna hook up the Zen Beats to just see how much quicker I could be with it. Because, anything your man want to do, like, let's say I'm here and, let's say I'm here and I just do that and I can get to all of this stuff and do whatever I want to do there, you know what I'm saying? And then, if I want to step out of there and, so I know my mixer, I can just do that to get to my mixer. I don't even have to touch this because this is more of an invisible type thing. I don't know what freaks I'm working with. And then if I want, anywhere I want to get or anything I want to do, I can kind of pull it off here. The only thing I can't do is pull off that 3/4 time signature thing because I don't think this was designed to do that. I've seen somebody do it with I went as far as looking at somebody do it with an old school 808, but I still wasn't able to do it with this. I did a song in 3/4 on here, but I kind of just disregarded everything, and I was kind of doing a Jay Dilla type thing where I just disregarded everything that was on here, and I just wasn't even caring about the time signature, the timing and everything, just to make it work. Well, thank you so much. I like this thing. And I'm not up here bullshitting. I like this thing. I actually like this thing. I don't think there's a day that I don't mess with it. And this is the middle of my studio desk. I got a MacBook up here, and I got, my MPC Live over there, and my Machine MK3. I mean my Machine Plus, because I put the MK3 away, and I use this. And people are like, oh yeah, the sounds on the machine are great. And I'm like, I guess they're great if you're used to waiting. For the crash thing to stop and you can start up again. This hasn't crashed on me since I had it. I don't even think there is a reason to crash. I don't even think this thing has a reason to crash because it's a real hardware thing, What's up, Mr. Russo? Yeah, I don't even think this thing has a reason to crash. Everything, this is hardware for real, digital hardware for real. I'm not an analog person because I know what that was about. And there was nothing worse than being in the studio with one of those, I love the LM1, but in the studio, one of them things and it needed to be calibrated. Or in the studio with a reel to reel and it needed to be calibrated, or in the studio with a OBX and it needed to be tuned and you couldn't get the show going because we only have the one. And now this guy, he only wants to use that and we got to go and hunt out another one. And, I didn't like analog and I didn't like, too many of them other things. This is digital hardware. I like this. This is fabulous. Yeah, I've gotten crazy warnings on my MPC. I've not gotten any. I've stretched the hell out of this thing, and I have not received any termination notices or stop this or crash. I think one time, if I do remember, I had one freeze and that was my fault because I switched it on and off too many times or something like that. But I have not had an issue with this thing. and that's another thing. I do like the MPC, but I do know that I do know that's just a computer in a hardware box. You know, it has because cats be looking at me like, hey man, well, what about the it not having a battery? It's like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't need that. I just need to be able to, if I want to go sit in my living room, to plug it in the wall and keep the party rolling without having a computer connected to me. This is fine for that. This is amazing. I don't know why Roland isn't focused on this, because this is amazing. I know people bought it because I know there were people making videos about sending it back because they didn't understand it. This thing is amazing. And once you wrap your head around the way that they want you to work, then you can decide on how you want to work. Because that was the biggest target I had was this. I didn't want to work the way it says work. But I gave in. I read the manual again. I came back to it and like, okay, I'm going to do what they say. And then I'm going to figure out other ways to do it. And when I found out other ways to do it, it was like, okay, cool. I don't have to do what they say anymore. And if you watched me that one time that I was mixing the song, I was going back from song mode to sequence mode to fix things that I needed to fix in sequence and go back to song mode. It was just like working on a computer, just not. This is the element that I was looking for. Like, if this was existing, I don't know, 4 years ago, I would have never even got an MPC Live or a Machine Plus. I would just have this and my MX49 because, you got Roland, you got Yamaha, and, maybe get a Korg Electribe or something. I got all three of the hot guys. I'm good. And I still may get a Vocal FM2 because I heard now you can play 6 notes. I had the Vocal FM. I bought it for my daughter, but it's like when I would try to mess with it, I only could use 3 notes, and it's like, I don't know. I can't get down with this. But now that it has more room to do more things with, I would be more than happy to have one of those. You know what? The wires in here in my studio can get crazy. My wife's always talking about how junky it looks, but somehow wires make me feel like I'm actually working. Yeah, the Vocal FM could pair nicely with this because you can now send and receive MIDI messages on this unit. So let's say you tracked all of these here and you had this one for that FM. You could just send out MIDI messages to the FM and then take the audio and bring it back in on the back into the Verselab. You could either mix the Verselab as if, it was one of the tracks. I mean, you can mix that vocal as if it's one of the tracks, or you could sample it into here and put it on a track in your kit. Put that information on the track and keep the party rolling. There's a million things you can do with this thing. You don't even have to go into your kit. You can actually, if you wanted to, you can be in song mode and take one of your vocal pads, and put your 3 different offerings of information that you had from your Vocal FM in here. 3 or 4 different offerings, and then just play them in as you want, because you can play these things in as you want once you sample them. What's on sale for $4.99? You know what, Alex Zandros, I really believe that you can do it, but I believe that they tried to leave some things off of each unit so that you would get, so that you could feel like you have a different experience with each unit. So they probably removed that side chain thing off of here, but they kind of give it to you in a reverb. What is it? Let's see. Hold on. I ain't got nothing going on over here, so I can show you. But next time I'm gonna have a vocal or something in this vocal area so that I can show you. There is a way of doing it because I've done it. It's just, it's a workaround. Yeah, using the motion control, you can do it with that too for Future World. Yes, and that's another thing. They didn't really tell you kind of like what's really going on here. Hold on, let me go into here. See, like when you're in your motion designer, they don't really give you a real good explanation of what's going on here, but it can happen. You just have to choose the correct waveform. And then you can make it happen, but it never really, there's just things that are on here that they don't really explain completely through. Really? I'm trying to read some of the things that are coming through. And it's like sometimes you really gotta sit down with it and just play with it without having an actual piece of music in mind. So like sometimes I'll just pick this thing up and run a kick, boom, 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 and try some things with it and see if I can make something happen that shouldn't happen. Yeah, Future World, that's correct. And Shades, you giving me what you trying to make 30 songs before the year's out? Because these are good chord progressions. Let me save this one too. Allow. Hold on 1 second here. These are really good progressions here, man. Me and Shades are writing songs, so I think the last thing I did, well, no, the thing before the last thing. The easiest thing about it is when Shades hands me those chords, I can just create the chords by, putting them in. Must be not, yeah. So those are the chords he gave me. And then I put this stuff with it. And I think on the song side, I started trying to make up some lyrics to go with it.
You can never kiss, but you can have it all. Since you used to getting everything you want. You can never kiss, but you can have it all. Since you used to getting everything you want. You can never kiss, but you can have it all. Since you used to getting everything you want. You can never kiss, but you can have it all. Since you used to getting everything you want. Can't talk about it. I'm just about it. I'm not gonna.
But I got to finish that up. Yeah, that Cosmic Rays is amazing. There's like 1,000 doggone sounds on here that you can just say, yeah, that, oh, yeah. I remember I was sitting here with my brother and he's like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, this one too. Oh, I'm like, go buy one. But he ended up, he did the, he went the easy route. He went and got the Roland Cloud. So he has access to everything, or just about everything, because I think they changed that up too. This compressor here is everything. This multi-band compressor is everything. And it's not set up all cheapy eepy. It's set up right, where you have your 3 bands and you have everything that you can do to them. And then, unlike on my Tascam, I have to throw some hate at my Tascam. I got 5 bands to work with to tune my mix. My overall mix, I got 5 bands to tune that. And then I have a limiter where I can do some crazy stuff too and get it just sounding just right. And then I have the ability to create a fade out. You set your curve and, you offset and you're done. And when you ship that thing out of here, it is ready to go. You might have to take it to your car to make sure that it's loud enough because, that's a thing now. But once you ship it out and you've tested it to make sure it was loud enough, it's ready to go.
You can never kiss, but you can have it all. Since you used to getting everything you want.
So that I have that going on like that, you can decide how and where you want these things to show up and happen. Just like a DAW, but different, just a whole different way of working. So you can do your take sequence edit and decide where you want things to fall. And along with that, you can go to your sample edit. And if you notice, I've chopped this bad boy up as good as I could. And, I have it assigned dry, but I can send it through the vocal processor, or I can send it through one of these 6 compressors. And I can also send it through this MFX. I think one thing I've noticed is when I have the MFX set a certain way, if I have a delay going or something like that, and I use one of these compressors, that delay is going to be on that compressor also. Yeah, Future World. I compress. It all depends. Because I can be a little anal with when I'm doing the drums. I can be a little retentive with that because I'll go ahead and edit all of the way that the hi-hats fall and the velocities of them. And usually they're tight enough for me to just go with it. But somehow when I add that little bit of compression, it squeezes it in a little bit better. So ultimately at the end, like once I'm finished, I can do it from here. Once I'm finished, I'll go and go all the way to the end here and then grab that compressor and I'll set the attack, make it short and, the release a little bit longer and put my threshold. It's never like that, but I'll put my threshold at a specific spot and then also take care of all of this other stuff and pull the gain back, because sometimes you can make things louder and think it's better, but I'll pull the gain back so that it's still at the same velocity. Still at the same sound volume. I just compressed it and it sounds a little bit glued together and squeezed in. You know what? When you do that, I have a song that I did a little something like that on it too. Let's see. When you're trying to get, it's never going to sound fabulous because, I think they kind of just gave you something. But when you do that, you want to use the harmonizer, and you want to also you want to pull your voice back. So I think harmonizer number 2 is you. You want to pull your voice back, and you want to use the auto tune also, and then you can get something like oh shoot. I think I erased it because I sold the song. Yeah. Let's see. Do I have it? Yeah, you want to take the harmonizer. You want to run your microphone into the Verselab for one, and then you want to use the harmonizer and the tune. And when you use those several together, you just gotta pace out the way you want that chord to fall, and you'll be able to make it sound like a not so much like not like Roger Troutman, but more like a chorusing type of thing where you have like 3 or 4 parts going together at the same time. Do I have it here? Do I have it somewhere? Did you heard that? You hear that? You can get that done. You can get it done. And I should do a video on that too. And that's a little phaser along with some flange, a light flange, some phaser, and now remember, you got to use these effects in this bad boy too when you're doing it. You got to put that phaser or flange on there so that it can have that squeezed in robotic type sound. But there is a robot note. What is it? In this tune thing here, there is a robot note. Where is it? Yeah, stability, speed. Yeah, there is a robot note, and it's gonna do that no matter what. All right, man. You have a good one, Shades. Yes, and you can mess with the formats. The formats will definitely give you that idea. You'll get close, but if you got a microchord or something, it might be an easier thing to do. Because you have to actually know what you're gonna sing, and you have to sing it. You have to make sure that you sing it, because it's gonna follow your voice. The harmonizer will follow your voice. I don't have the mic hooked up to it, but it will follow your voice. So if you're like, in my case, I was like, tell me what your boy is supposed to do. I can't keep my eyes off of you. I had to know exactly what notes I was doing. I had to set up the chord the way I wanted it to fall, and it worked out. But it was fun because it wasn't easy to do. It was something I had to figure out, and it was fun. It wasn't, like when you're on a DAW, the life could be sucked out of a thing because it becomes less and less fun the more things you try. Right. Right. Yeah. And that's another thing. That's another thing and reason why I think this is amazing. Because look, you got stability. You have speed. You have shift, format. You have ability to pan. I don't know why you have to pan here, but ability to pan it. Robot note. You can choose different. Hold on. You can choose different notes for it to, for it to hold, because what happens is that robot note keeps that note static. So you're just really singing that note. And you have keys or chromatic. I typically keep it on chromatic. And I usually go hard. Here it is. You can go robot, electric, hard. I was using the electric to get that. I was using the electric for that. And of course, if you get tired, just go ahead and give it to, go ahead and pull out whatever you have that can do a vocoder. Because it could be a headache, but if you're just trying to have a good time, it can be amazing. I've gotten to the point where I've taken all of the stress out of making music, and I just, yeah. Yeah, basically. Basically, because you get to this vocal here. Well, if it was the old way it was there, it took a few tries and a few different identities before I was finished. But then I took all of that information, I sampled it down to one thing, and then I just put it in the song. I turned around and I sampled it in here. I sent it out, sampled it back into back into a kit track, and it all worked out. I keep saying this, the more you mess with it, the better it becomes for you, especially if I have other units that I use when I'm in a pinch and I got to get something done real quick. But typically, once I get things done and I'm just working on music, just trying to create some songs that I want to sell, or that I just want to listen to the music myself, I then turn around and just grab this. It has all the right sounds in it. It has all the right functionality. I can sit here and just have a good time making music. And I tend to sit here and I come up with 3-4 things every time I'm messing with it. And it's easy to stretch them out. It's not like a complicated task. Even if I use the 4-bar loop, I can still come to the sections and stretch it out as long as I want to. Yeah, man, I always say that to people. The limitations are what make you creative. It's great to have a DAW. I would not want to buy a $500 program and it have limitations on it. But the limitations on hardware make you move. Well, thank you so much, man. And come by, man, because I'm up here. I'm up here doing this. I love this thing. I hate to keep on giving it all this praise, but I do love it. I love it. I love Roland. I'm a son of Prince. And if you know Prince's music, people like to talk about that Oberheim, but that Roland D50 was all over a lot of stuff from like 87 all the way down to, the 90s and stuff. So I'm really I'm really in tune with these sounds. And sometimes I'll wince across something that I know Prince used, like the arco strings and stuff like that. Every so often I'll come across something that I know he used. And, it's not like I'm going to use it, but I'm familiar with this sound, the sound of this doggone thing. And I love the sound of this thing. And these sounds, like someone was trying to tell me one time that, oh, those are dated sounds. I'm like, dude, people are still using the Oberheim. What do you mean dated? People are still using, they're still using DX7. What do you mean dated? There's not, you're only limited by how you think, and you're only limited by what you want to hear. If everybody wants to keep on hearing the same 808s and same this and same that, then it doesn't matter how many sounds you have if you're only going to use the same 12. Yes, you said a whole mouthful there, Future World. You said, look, dude, I'm not even going to lie to you. I had Reason, and I never finished one of them tracks in Reason. I had access to all of those samples, all of those sounds, all of that synthesizer functionality, and I would get in and I would not finish a track. I think I finished very few tracks, let's say that. Yeah. I feel the same way, Alex. Oh yeah, that Jupiter X, man, I really wanted one of those. I really wanted one of all of you. You're right, all of that, because I need to shut up, because looking at that just lets me know that I got gas, because before you know it, you'll be looking in the camera space will be bigger because you'll see a lot of things there. Mm-hmm. It's always like that. It's always like that. I don't. I think. I guess we got to be happy that they're good at the one thing. They're good at the sounds, because the sounds are amazing. But you're right. The hunt and the depth, and seek and find, and if you find something, show somebody, because it's not in the manual. Yeah, that's another thing. That's like what I was saying. If you have like something else that can do it, you know, do it that way. Because if you're working on something and it's just for you, then yeah, go ahead and try this whole thing out that I'm talking about. But if you're working on something and you're trying to sell it, just go ahead and use what you got. Sample it in, and you're still using the MV. Just sample it into the MV and press it in place. That's the best thing you can do. And don't let it fool you. Now, even though you can only work on 8 bars, you can stretch those 4 to 8 bars out to 16 and really fill your song in, especially if you have like a rapper that's going to be rapping 16 bars. You can take that middle passage and do that there. And if you want to have a variation, you can come into your vocal track once again. We're going to song mode. Come into your vocal track, and you can add that variation of something on one of the tracks, and then hit it in place where you want it at. And that way, let's say in the second 8 bars of the 16 bar sequence, you can you want like some wind or something that happened to just give it a variation. You can sample that variation in. Yeah, that was, yeah. It made no sense. It should have just been one whole manual with not only what it does, I mean, what like for the motion thing, it tells you what it how to use it, but it doesn't tell you, it doesn't give you an example of what it does so that you can really know it as opposed to trying to figure it out. Like you want a side chain. So, okay, well, you said it can do it. Show me exactly how it does that. Give me an example. Yeah. Art of, yes, yes. And I hate to sound like a old school snob, but when I get a sample pack, sometimes they have the whole song. All I think is, okay, either I'm gonna rap or I'm gonna sing on this, and I don't, because anything else in here I can do. It's like the same. It's like the sample. I hate to sound like that. I really do. But sometimes the sample pack, it has the same drums that you have in 10 other sample packs that you have, and some of the sounds, it's like the Roland thing has really fresh sounds that haven't been sampled, like double sampled and triple sampled and resampled. These sounds are really good sounds. You got really good leads. And even in this thing, they've tried to make it drill worthy. You know what I'm saying? They've slowed some things down and made it sound scary and shit. I like this damn thing. I like this thing because of the sounds alone. I don't always want everything to sound resampled. I typically want, and if I want to sound resampled, I can resample it myself. Yeah. Look, you put your comment came up just as I was saying that. If I want a guitar thing, I can just play the guitar into here, and then they've just added some new. They've just added like lo-fi and a couple other things where you can mess with warble, and you can really make something sound old school on here, like for real. You can add LP noise, tape noise. This, you're only limited by what you can think, and you really have to go through it and see everything that it has, because even if you just read the perimeter guide, you'll see what different types of reverb effects and there are guitar effects in here. They've really upped the game on the audio effects, where you can make music on here that sounds lo-fi. The way that we love the way that we love things to sound, a little trashed out. I've gotten to the point where I don't take this with me nowhere, because I almost left it at one of my sessions, and good thing I ran right back in, because the little guy was messing with it. It looked like he wanted to take it, because once he saw what it could do, he wanted a piece of it. But I had to grab it back from him, let him know that that's mine and I'm coming back for it. I would hope they update this one more time and then bring in like a bigger one, something like an MV8, something bigger, and it has a whole bunch of features and a whole bunch of things out of menu, sort of like the 909, the MC 909 was. It's like I would hope that they do something like that and give it like way more tracks, like 16 or 32 tracks or something like that, where you can really get down and still have the limitations that will keep you being creative. I think just being on a hardware device will make you creative, but I really would hope that there would be a MV8. Yeah, with expansions and stuff, something that you can really sink your teeth into. But right now, I'm having a great time with this. But I ain't gonna lie to you. If I had another row of these 16 pads, like a B section of 16 pads, or A, B, and C section, and a lot more sample space, because that would be another reason to have a MV8. Have a bigger model to give you more sample time and stuff. Yeah, man, I saw your video on that 8800. I was 2 seconds off of buying one of those, and my son came and is like, "What you gonna do with another drum machine?" That would be cool too, especially if the application would allow you to see the waveform so that you can chop better. Because that's the only thing that holds me up from chopping on this, is I'm kind of used to seeing the waveform. So, I'm still a little spoiled. This is the 2000s. I don't have to feel bad that I'm spoiled by, technology, but I still love this. But I am a little spoiled in this stuff that I'm like, it's 2022. There should be a little bit more, but for a guy who likes to be in the room and just exploring, this is fabulous, because I don't look up and see a screen and then want to go to YouTube. The little bitty screen here keeps me focused on this area. I'm spoiled, but I ain't gonna lie. When I'm messing with this, it's all like the Tascam. The reason why I like that so much is because it had that screen with very, very little things on it, and it's like, okay, well, I just got to make music here. Now that's gonna be cool, Art of MV. Because I'm a little spoiled. I haven't used that app, but I'm probably try that tonight after I get off of here, and just try it out, because you know nothing beats a failure like a try. Yeah, I started out in the '90s too. I remember where there was just nothing to look at. You remember having like a JV 1080 with the same two tier screen, and you know, do what you can. Look at her over there. Look at the drum machine. Yeah, you can. It's like where I have.
You're fine,
See, like here, you can
you're
kind of do
fine,
that
and you
just
know
up
it.
here.
You make a brother like me scared to make a move, and I know.
There's so many things you can do. There's so many things that are there that you may have, because we're running through trying to learn how to use the thing so that we can make music. Sometimes we read the manual and kind of look over things. But yeah, you can do
You're
that.
fine.
And when you sample, you can hit this and that and do the same thing. And when you're trimming, you can do that same thing, and it'll give you a tighter trim. No, one thing I've come into a problem with is when I trim the beginning and the end, sometimes it just keeps looping, which causes me some strife sometimes when I'm working with people. Yeah, because in the '70s they were playing those songs. They were the drummers. Like I was messing with a James Brown song, and I noticed after a certain point I kept on. I thought I would have it, and after a certain point I noticed that the drummer was speeding up at the ends of things, like the tempo would be like 120, right? 129, right? Not even a solid 129. And then all of a sudden it would either slow down when James would start, singing, or it would speed up when it got to the chorus. And I was trying to get certain chops. I had to Jay Dilla chop the hell out of one of James Brown's songs. I forget. I think it was a Big Payback or one of them. I had to chop the hell out of that song to make it work because it was not time correct. And I didn't want to time correct it. I wanted to hear it. I wanted it to fall the way that it fell in the record. And that was a time. I did it on here too. That was a Travajo. That was really that was a time, man. That was something. That was something to behold. But I got it done, but it was something to behold. I probably could have got it done faster on my MPC, but I just really wanted to work with this, and that was something to behold. I don't think I think it made me a better use. It made the usage of this better for me, but yeah. The only thing about chopping that I do have a problem with on here is if I'm doing a long piece, I tend to just sample it on several different pads instead of like using the slice mode on here because the transients are a little strange. Yeah, he did. You know what? Thank you, Gardner, because I had to find that out too. I had to find that out the hard way too, because I'm like, these patterns are a little different. The snares are sounding like they're holding down together, but all of that was done in mono too. I haven't tried that. See, y'all keep throwing up different pieces of gear that your man don't have access to, and I'm trying to get rid of my gas. But I always look at that poly-in tracker and be like, I bet that would be a bad piece to get. And here you are saying that it can do something with the MV. I'm like, man, oh man, Christmas is coming. The good thing is, once you learn navigation on this thing, there's nothing that you can't do. But always have to remember to come off of that vocal track before you go back to sequence. And another thing, I think someone's trying to do a sample pack for this. So I would like to see how that's going to work out, because there's so much that this thing offers already. especially in this drum side. And you got access to their drums, and then to turn around and add. Let's see something. And to turn around and add a sample pack, it's like what would the sample pack have that would make things great? Yeah, you do. I talk about that 303 that I had. I knew that thing so well that it always offered something new and exciting. And I think I'd used every sound that the thing had, but I always found something else that I could create with it. I would sit with that thing for hours. I sold it so that I could stop using it. Yeah, try it out and do a video so that we all can learn from you. But yeah, Future World, I knew the MC303 so well that I wouldn't even use a lot of the things that I had. I had to get rid of it so that I could use the other things, well, get into the other things that I ended up having. But that ended up being a mess too, because then I think somewhere around 2010, 2012, people got into synthesizers, hardware, virtual analog, and I had so many of those things around here that it became crazy. I went from having one thing to having so many things that I was unhappy about getting rid of the one thing that I had that I knew very well. I ended up learning how to create sounds, and then I ended up making so many sounds that I stopped making music, thus calling me to sell some of my keyboards and my synthesizers so that I could get back to making music instead of just creating sounds. Because when I was buying synthesizers, I wasn't buying them to hear the sounds that they came with. I was buying them to make sounds with, and that got crazy. I think it was a whole 6 months of me not making any money because I was just making sounds. Yeah, they do. That 404 Mark II. When those came out, I couldn't even get one. And then I realized I kind of have some of that functionality already. So I just threw out the whole idea of getting a 404 Mark II. Yeah, you can do that too. I think that was the reason why I got rid of my 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 MPC 500, because I found myself cutting up the samples and putting them into it. It's like I don't need this if I'm doing it somewhere else. But Audacity is fabulous for cutting up samples and editing. Look, fellas, I think something's burning in my kitchen. I'm gonna have to step away, fellas. I'm gonna be back here tomorrow, same time, same station. I think my wife's burning the place down. I'm gonna holler at you guys. Sorry about this.